So we are a pro-democracy podcast, and we are civic action-minded. And I know you're a journalist, and this may not be fully applicable, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. Every week on Future Hindsight, I ask my guest to share a civic spark, one small step we can all take to be more empowered and ignite collective change. What's a good way to turn the insights you've shared with us into action?
Well, I've thought about this a little bit, but it's very simplistic. I just encourage people to go to China, to visit China as a tourist. I assure you, I have no shares in Chinese travel agencies. But I do think it's important that people understand what the other side looks like. And aside from anything else, the food is great. The scenery is very varied. You can go from deserts to mountains to the seaside. The history is amazing, as Xi Jinping, the leader, never tires of saying 5,000 years of history. I mean, you don't have to listen to that. But you can see some of it in the great palaces in Beijing. And you can see the history of 20th century China in Shanghai, which is this great metropolis on a river. I just think it's important that we go there, understand, and don't need to agree with anything, or can learn a little bit or learn a lot. And I think you would find that Chinese people that you meet are very different kinds of people. Not all are brainwashed by Xi Jinping. Not all are rooting for the United States, but huge variety and many kinds of ethnicities. And so I think it behooves us to go and see what it's like.
Yeah, here, I'm into it. Well, I'm going to ask you also for a book recommendation, which you do in your own podcast. And for somebody who doesn't know anything about China, and as a first book, what do you recommend?
Oh, well, this is interesting. You know, Nicholas Burns, who is a longtime State Department official, very senior official, is at the Belfer Center at the Harvard Kennedy School where I make the podcast. And he went to China in 2021, something like that, to be ambassador. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know it well. So he asked me for a book recommendation. And I suggested a collection of essays by Jonathan Spence, a distinguished historian of China, called To Change China. They're very easy to read. And they start with a Roman Catholic priest who went to China in the 16th century. And it comes all the way through to the 19th century when many Americans went there, like the Rockefellers went there to establish universities and a medical center. And then it goes through World War II when there were Americans present during China's fight with Japan. And every essay basically ends with the following: that the foreigners left China with their tails between their legs, that they came to try and democratize China, to try and change China, but it doesn't work. So I think that's a kind of interesting lesson. But if I can, I would like to recommend another book as well, which is a little bit more contemporary. A friend of mine who was a journalist in China when I was there, Barbara Demick, she was there for the Los Angeles Times, and she found the most amazing story about so-called abandoned children. You know, American families came to China in the 2000s, late 90s, to adopt children, and they all thought the children had been given up for adoption voluntarily to orphanages. But Barbara found, as many people did, that the one-child policy in China was very forcibly enforced, and she devotes the book to one family who were forced to give up one of their twins. And at the age of 22 months, this twin was forcibly taken from the family by the family planning officials, literally taken out of the arms of an aunt, forcibly. You know, no papers, no nothing, just force. And then Barbara, through social media, was able to put the two twins who had been separated, she was able to bring them together. The twin who was taken from the arms of a relative grew up in rural Texas, and she was able to find this twin, and then she was able to tell the Chinese family that she had found the twin. And there are remarkable scenes towards the end of the book about the two girls coming together. It's very moving, and I think it illustrates the larger issue in great human terms.
Oh, thank you.
It's called Daughters of the Bamboo Grove by Barbara Demick.
Thank you.